Yeah. Thing is filthy. I don't even care, man. One of the reasons I love having a beater. Get a little cold start going here. Nice and quiet since we put that new resonator on there. Okay. Alrighty. Low life problems. Hey, yes sir, what is going on YouTube? It is your boy Denali, aka Don Squally, and we are back at it with another YouTube video, man. So if you guys have seen the title of this video, you guys probably already know what it's all about. Before we get started, I just want to give a shout out to That Black Sedan on Instagram. I'm gonna leave his Instagram here somewhere on the screen. Check him out, check out his build. He's got a dope car, he's local here, so yeah, definitely check him out and keep up to date with his build. But if you guys have read the title of today's video, man, you will know that it's all about how I got my Infiniti G35 for free. Now obviously, if you guys know, I wasn't given this car, I didn't win it or anything like that. So I'm gonna go over a couple of the things that I did to acquire this G35 for pretty much nothing. So first off, what you want to do if you are buying a car for cheap that you do want to get a little bit of your money back. Obviously with me, I started out with a 2003 Infiniti G35 that had close to 300,000 kilometers on it, about 298 as we speak. And the key to buying a car that you're going to try to make back some of your money with is buying a car that has aftermarket parts and that are still, you know, highly sought after in the aftermarket world. Now I was fortunate enough to buy this car off of a buddy of mine, and it did have quite a bit of stuff that I was able to sell and make back pretty much all of the money that I spent on buying this car. Now I did do quite a few things to put this thing on the road. We're not going to include any of those fees. I'll probably do a separate video on exactly what I had to do for this car in order to get it on the road. So obviously we're going to start out with the purchase. I bought this car for $1,000, like I say, from a friend of mine. So I had a pretty good idea of the parts that were on this car, what he spent to get the parts, you know, installed and put on his car and looking proper. So I bought this car for $1,000 off of my buddy, which for the parts that came on this car really wasn't that much money. Now, if you guys were paying attention from the very start when I bought this car, one of the very first hot commodity items, I guess you could say, that this car had on it was that Nismo bumper. Now, unfortunately, it wasn't an OEM bumper, but still relatively valuable. I ended up selling that for around $250, which is about a quarter of what I paid for the car. So, I mean, right out of the gate, we're off to a good start. Now, next up, you guys know this thing did have a Metra dash kit and a double din already installed in it. Now, I was considering keeping the Metra dash kit and the double din for my other G35, but the name of the game when I bought this car was to buy a car for cheap enough that I could sell parts off of the car, make back my money, and still obviously have a running and driving G. So with that in mind, I really wasn't too keen on keeping any of the parts for this car. So we ended up selling the Metra dash kit for $100 and the Pioneer double din also for $100, which, you know, the Metra dash kit's around $180 brand new and the double din about $150. So I'd say, you know, we made out pretty good. Now, if you guys remember the weight reduction videos that I did on this car, I ripped out pretty much all of the interior out of this car. Again, the goal was to sell as much of the interior as I could without ruining the functionality of this car. So with that, I was able to sell the rear seat bottoms, which the rear back seats, the rear part, the backing I should say, wasn't in that great a condition. So I was just able to sell the rear seat bottom for around $30, which obviously isn't a whole lot of money in the grand scheme of things, but every little bit counts. Now this thing did come with a Tajima intake, which I was able to rip off. Now I ended up getting some InGen piping from a buddy of mine and ended up just doing a little DIY intake, which turned out fantastic, to be honest. Didn't cost me anything, so I was able to sell the intake that came on this car for $100. And the big prize winner, man, that a lot of you guys inquired about but only had one serious buyer for, and that was the duckbill trunk. I ended up selling the duckbill trunk for $150, so I'm not sure if I mentioned this. Intake was $100. Duckbill trunk I ended up selling for $150. Now my buddy that I got this car off of, I know he spent an arm and a leg trying to get that trunk looking good and all the body work done properly. So $150 is a steal. Sold it to a guy here locally who's going to be putting that on his sedan, so looking forward to seeing that in action. $150 for the duckbill trunk. Considering what I paid to build my own, that's a steal, man, regardless how you slice it. Next up, I ended up getting a set of winter wheels that came on this car. Now my buddy that sold me this car ended up trading me a set of 17-inch all seasons off of a Nissan Altima, which I then turned around, traded my buddy my stock 17s that came off my black G35, which I had sold him a couple years ago, traded him the Altima 17s back for my G35 17s plus $100. So we're up $100 on the wheels, plus I still have my original G35 set of wheels, which I'm probably going to end up putting on this car once I get some tires for it in the near future. So rims $100, not a bad deal, but we also got another set of rims, so technically kind of a little rental rim here deal we got going on, but worked out for me. Made $100 off the rims. Now getting down to the nitty gritty, I did have a set of depot headlights that came on this car. Luckily for me, the guy who sold me this car, my buddy, also gave me the stock set of headlights that was having some issues with the HID bulbs. Managed to figure that out and put them on the car, which gave me the option to sell the depot headlights for $100. Now new, those depot headlights go for around $150, so selling them for $100 was actually not that bad, and got me that much closer to my goal of making back the money that I spent on this car. Now last but not least, we did rip out pretty much all the interior, including the door panels, which I was able to sell for $25 a piece. That's $100 for all four. I still was able to keep the wood grain trim, which I'm going to probably do some hydro dipping or some painting for my black G35. And all in all, that is what pushed me over the $1,000 threshold. Woo! Gotta love that intake, man. Let me just get past some traffic here. So with that resonator, man, you can definitely tell that the exhaust is a lot quieter, but makes that intake sound a hell of a lot better, man. So where was I? Okay, $100 for the door panels, which put me over my $1,000 threshold. Actually made $30 off of the whole deal so far, and still got a ton of interior parts. I still have a hood at home for sale. You know, I got all the glove box, I got a few trim pieces, and I also got a 100% running and driving G35 sedan. Now when I posted the last video saying that I might be selling this car, I got a lot of you guys that were upset, commenting, wondering why I'm selling this car. After putting this thing on the road and driving it for around 1,000 kilometers, I've realized that there are some things about this specific car that are not gonna make it ideal for drifting. Oh, we got a little M4 action coming on here. probably eat me alive, but whatever. So yeah, there are a couple of things that are not going to make this car ideal for drifting. Now I am going to go over a couple of those things in a future video, not right now because that's just a whole nother topic. But guys, the only way that I would sell this car is that if I already had something that was better lined up. So keep that in mind. I know I put a lot of work, and I did say this car was going to be a drifter in the beginning, but I'm starting to think this car would probably be better off as a daily, and then maybe we'll drift the black G35, but we'll see. Nothing's 100% set in stone. Obviously, as a YouTuber, I like to keep the content fresh, and me owning two G35 sedans makes it hard to have some diversity in the videos. But I'm thinking that's probably just about it for today. I think I covered pretty much all of the bases. Obviously, you want to start with a car that's a little bit high mileage, has a lot of aftermarket parts on it that you can make back the money, and yeah, definitely make sure that the car is in good condition before you go ahead and make the purchase. But I'm thinking we're probably going to put an end to this video. I hope you guys did enjoy it. If you did, don't forget to smash that like button. If you guys want to see more and you're not subscribed yet, definitely do so, man. But I'm thinking that's about it. I guess we'll end off this video with a little automatic G35 pull here from second. I'm your boy Denali, aka Don Squally. We're going to catch y'all mofos at the next one.